Teal'c has several features to enhance the possibilities of your narratives. In this video, based on the user's choice in the previous scene, we'll explore one of them, a simple card battle system that can add complexity to your stories. Let's start by creating the first of the ship selection scenes, called Red and Green. In it, we'll add short videos of the two chosen ships and the next button, reusing assets from the media collection of the previous scene. Now let's create two string variables, $ship1 and $ship2, to record the player's choice as red and green. We'll place the action to set these values at the beginning of the scene. We haven't created the next scene yet, so we'll leave the next button action for later. What we're going to do now is, in the scene menu, click Save As to make a copy of our scene as red and blue to reuse the layout. Select the instance of the green ship. First, let's change its asset to the video of the blue ship, and then rename the instance to blue. Finally, let's edit the scene start action, changing $ship2 to blue. After creating the green and blue scene in a similar process, we will return to the first chat scene to modify the decision flow options, using the scenes we just created as a reference. Let's now test our scene by choosing one of the options presented at the end. The choice of ships in our prototype will serve as the basis for one of the narrative features that Teal'c offers, the card battle system. This is a simplified card battle system that can be used to enrich your stories, adding a random element where the player faces opponents, with the narrative taking different paths depending on the outcome of these confrontations. Here's an example of how this battle system works, set in a mystical scenario. On the left are the player's cards, while on the right are the opponent's cards. In vertical screens, the player's cards are on top and the opponent's cards are on the bottom. Each card has up to 5 different attributes, named according to their content. In this example, we use 4 of them: earth, wind, fire, and water. Each card has a value associated with one of these attributes. The battle takes place when the player chooses one of them, which is compared to the opponent's, whose value is not initially visible. The player with the highest value for the chosen attribute wins, and the defeated card is discarded. Below the cards, we see the remaining ones for both sides. The system manages up to 5 for each player. If the player eliminates all of the opponent's cards, they win. Otherwise, they lose the battle. To configure the card battle tool, in the left menu, Narrative, click on Card Battle System. Let's start on the second tab, Card Attributes. Here, you indicate the names of up to 5 attributes that will be used in the card comparison. In our case, we will use 3, red, green, and blue. But since we are creating a bilingual prototype, we will use string variable names, $red, $green, and $blue. In the Display Settings tab, we will specify the graphics to be used in the card battle display. These settings allow you to adapt the feature to the visual standards of your narrative. If you have any questions about the image format to use and where each one will appear in the display, consult the Teal'c Scripting Actions manual in the chapter on card battles. There you will find a guide on the most suitable formats for each image. It's time to configure the cards themselves. To do this, let's go to the first tab of the window. Even though each battle has up to 5 cards per side, the number of registered cards is unlimited. To include a card, give it an identifier code, indicate an image, and fill in the values for each of the attributes used. In our case, we have the attributes red, green, and blue. Let's create the first card for the red ship. Note that we will adjust the attributes according to the color. 5 for red, and 1 for both green and blue. Let's now create the cards for the green and blue ships with attribute values corresponding to each color. For best results, always use square images of the same size for all your cards. Finally, let's create a card for the black ship that we'll use as an opponent in a test. For it, we'll set the values of all attributes to 0. Attribute values can even be negative. You can start a card battle at any time within your content. To do this, simply run the corresponding action. The battle will be displayed on top of the current scene's content. To test our settings and cards, let's call up the battle display from the scene's test actions. In the narrative group, choose the Start a Card Battle action. Note that we must specify 2 parameters: the identifiers of the player's cards, separated by commas, and the identifiers of the opponent's cards. We can use the same cards on both sides, or even repeat identifiers. In our case, we will test the red, green, and blue cards for the player and 2 black cards for the opponent. Let's do a test now. Notice that the cards are displayed with the first ship of each parameter, red for the player and black for the opponent. Below the cards, the remaining cards for each participant are shown. Clicking on any of the attributes causes a comparison. In our case, since the attributes of the black cards are always 0, any choice will lead to victory. After the battle ends, the scene image reappears. Note that the action that initiates the card battle has 2 events, on victory and on defeat. Here we can set actions to be executed depending on the outcome of the confrontation. If the player clicks the button to leave the battle, the on defeat event is called. Another important point to remember is that the list of card identifiers can receive string variables. Thus, whenever the player enters battle, we will use the variables $ship1 and $ship2, whose values are defined by their choice at the end of the first chat scene. Finally, let's configure the remaining cards used in our prototype. In this video, we checked out the use of the Card Battle tool, a configurable feature that Tealbosi offers to enhance your narratives. Next, we'll discover how to further develop player confrontations through the use of items.